And, you know, Rico, I told you on Friday that New York is the gift that keeps on giving, and I got more in New York for you. Because apparently they're saying don't flood the market with legal pot shops. New York cannabis industry warns you guys. Oh, man. A group representing the legal marijuana industry is warning Governor Hochul's cannabis regulators that a dramatic increase in the number of pot stores could have disastrous consequences for current licensed operators. Cannabis Association of New York President Damian Cornwell noted that the state regulators have yet to weed out the hordes of illegal pot operators. In quotes, "We are waiting to express our deep concern regarding the Cannabis Control Board's recent decisions about dramatically increasing the number of cannabis licenses in the state." Cornwell, founder of the Just Breathe cannabis shop in Birmingham, said in an April 12th letter to the said in a letter sent to the State Cannabis Control Board Chairwoman Tremaine Wright and members of the Cannabis Advisory Board, in quotes, "We believe that this approach, if implemented without proper analysis and stakeholder input, will have disastrous consequences for the flooding industry and public health." Hochul and state regulators have been criticized for a slow roll and rocky rollout since the first licensed pot store opened back in December of 2022, and lawsuits contributed to delays in licensing and store openings last year, leaving farmers in the lurk with mounds of spoiled marijuana crops. But state officials have ramped up the issuance of licenses and approved openings of dispensaries since litigation was settled last fall. There are now 103 legal cannabis stores open throughout the Empire State, up from 26 last November, and more than 400 cannabis licenses ranging from growers to retail stores have been issued by state regulators this year, including 101 at the April 11th Cannabis Control Board meeting. But Cornwell advised prudent deliberation instead of reckless overwhelming the budding market, and in quotes says, "We strongly believe that handing out licenses without a thorough understanding of the market's capacity will lead to an oversaturation, business failures, and unintended public health risks," he said. As the cannabis industry in New York is still in its early stages, many licensed retailers are already facing challenges competing with the illegal market. Flooding the market with additional licenses exacerbates this problem and potentially leads to a wave of closures, undermining the state's social equity goals and leaving vulnerable entrepreneurs in an unsustainable market, they say. To emphasize his point, Cornwell put a paragraph of his letter in bold, calling on the Cannabis Advisory Board to conduct a sweeping market analysis and a review with stakeholders prior to making any major policy decisions impacting the industry. In a subsequent interview with the Post, Cornwell said the legal cannabis industry cannot be compared to other retail markets, and unlike other industries, licensed pot stores are barred from deducting ordinary business expenses for income tax purposes because it's still considered an illicit drug under federal law. And in quotes, "Without the ability to deduct expenses like rent, employee wages, and marketing costs and other operating expenses, cannabis retail stores face a higher tax burden compared to other retail businesses. This can significantly impact their profitability and financial viability," he said. Well, he's right about that. New York does have crazy, crazy high rent, and the fact that you can't write it off is just crazy to me. But nonetheless, these guys are calling and saying, hey, don't issue out more licenses because there's enough of us. And until you're going to crack down on the stores, don't do anything. What do you guys have to say about this?
I got to jump in first. I got a burning desire. This guy's a fucking cornhole, not a corn wall. He is literally a hole in a piece of wood that a beanbag should be thrown through. I mean, this notion that he's going to come in with that protectionistic angle and then try to anchor it to the already known things around 280E restrictions or the fact that this isn't like any other retail business. He's using examples of known data to support protectionism because his store is open. I mean, this is the biggest FU. And then writing to them and putting a paragraph in bold, right on, brah. I know how to use Microsoft Word too. Thank you very much. Who are you? What makes you qualified? Why Why should I even listen to you? You got your store open, and now you're worried because you got 100 retail stores in that whole state, and you're going to speak for the industry. You're not speaking for the industry. You're speaking for retailers. You're not speaking for cultivators. You think any cultivator only wants 100 shops in the entire state of New York? Shame on this guy. Honestly, I don't know him from Adam, but this is the worst approach. And I don't know that this gentleman has the CV to have an opinion that matters. Straight up.
Interesting.
He's the head of Cannabis New York, the CA New York Industry Organization.
Yeah, he's the industry association, bro. He speaks for the industry.
His rhetoric, man, is scared. He sounds scared of competition.
I'm with Rico and Yarrow on this. It makes ever going to shut down all of these illicit shops that have customers that are doing tons of business and not opening other stores and giving an option.
And this whole notion that we have to be thoughtful. Yeah, no shit. This is public policy, you numbnut. We've been thinking about this for longer than you probably. I got roaches in my ashtray that are probably older than you, or at least more evolved in their thinking.
Is that
this
you don't
notion
take out the
that
trash?
we need to be thoughtful about this? We've been very thoughtful about this. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry that didn't just show up yesterday. New York's rules and regulations didn't show up yesterday. They've been doing their bestest on a rollout for years now, and this hodgepodge of supporting data that doesn't support his assertion, it's economic protectionism. And frankly, it flies in the face of a decent version of capitalism and the opportunity for other people to put their oar in the water and row their merry little happy rowboats to economic prosperity. And then to even loop in the social equity part of it, bro, kick rocks.
Actually, I'd like to just provide a counterpoint. Using government protectionism to create monopolies is actually capitalism. I think what you mean, Yarrow, is free market. Free market is where anyone has a chance to open a business, provide a service, and then be remunerated for it. Capitalism is where capital is into the fewest pockets as possible, and where government and industry leaders collude to keep other people out of the market. So this would be textbook capitalism, this letter and this gentleman's position.
And what Saint Germain just said is why he and I are the ebony and ivory on the keyboard of commentary. Because
you hear what he's trying to do there?
I do not disagree with what he just said.
Hold on. Who's Ebony here?
That would be me, Rico.
Oh boy.
I'm Ebony Light.
All this white on white crime.
Oh boy.
The albino piano that only Paul McCartney can do justice.
Cute.
The white keys and the off-white keys.
Rico, you want to introduce Yarrow, since you're going to be leaving us in a second?
And up next, you have the